Before I start my live chats, I always like to show this photo of Libby and Abby to remind us all that this case is about them, their families, the defendant Richard Allen and his family, and the town of Delphi hopefully finding out the truth, who was Bridge Guy, and holding him accountable for what he did to these two girls. On September 23rd, the defense filed a motion for the jury to go to view the crime scene. The defense wants the jury to see Freedom Bridge, the CPS parking lot, the Monon High Bridge, and where the girls were found. 2 days later, on September 25th, Judge Gull said she will wait for the prosecution to reply and then have a hearing after the jury is selected before she makes her decision if the jury will go on this field trip. Also, September 23rd, motion to compel deponents to answer certified questions, 4 pages, filed by the defense. Thank you to my YouTube channel member, Xtina, for pointing out the incorrect apostrophe usage in deponents. A few months ago, I sent an email to the defense offering free proofreading services because they make so many mistakes, but they seem to prefer to spend $12,000 to get a photo from Facebook. Several depositions have resulted in the defense certifying certain questions the prosecution advised the deponent, also known as the person being interviewed by the defense, not to answer. So the prosecution told them not to answer, and the defense is upset about that. So the defense wants Gull to order the deponents to answer the certified questions. In each section here, it lists the name of the person who was deposed and the questions the defense wants to have them answer. Jerry Holman was asked by the defense 4 questions. What did you talk to Sheriff Liggett about to prepare for your deposition? Why did it take you guys so long to get a blood spatter expert in April of 2024? Why did it take so long for the investigators to get a blood spatter expert? Did anyone in your unified command or greater law enforcement investigative team ever suggest that you should do that? Retain someone to discuss blood spatter during the investigation. This is defense attorney Brad Rosie asking these questions to Gallipo. I'm assuming some of that, talking to the prosecutor, was just talking about the pleadings I had filed or Andy filed, things like that. And so what were you asked to do when you got the document, the affidavit signed by Gallipo? Did they give you any reasons why the defense could not go see where Richard Allen was living at Westville Prison? Do you know why they made that decision? The decision for a no phone policy in Westville Correctional Facility. Next up was Joshua Robinson, who is a correctional sergeant. Generally, describe to me what kind of questions these were. Questions for the affidavit prepared by Elise Gallagher, who's an attorney. I'm not asking you about what Ms. Gallagher talked to you about. I'm asking you what questions you answered for the affidavit. What were those questions for the affidavit? Next up, Tony Liggett. What was the purpose of that unified command meeting? Finally, Stephen Mullen, who's the former Delphi police chief, and for a while he's been the investigator for the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. Is your timeline and theory of the case fatal to the prosecution's case against Richard Allen if the person witness 4 observed on the bridge is not Richard Allen? Is your timeline and theory of the case fatal to the prosecution's case against Richard Allen if the vehicle witness 4 observed at the CPS building was not Richard Allen's vehicle? If witness 4 observed one person and the 3:57 p.m. driver on 300 North observed an entirely different person, is the prosecution's timeline and theory of the case, as it relates to Richard Allen, fatally flawed? If neither witness 4 nor the 3:57 p.m. driver observed Richard Allen on February 13, 2017, is the state's timeline and theory of the case as it relates to Richard Allen fatally flawed? Next up, on September 27th, state's response to motion to certify deposition questions, 2 pages, filed by the prosecution. My summary was, the state believes the information the defense is asking to compel is privileged because it is work product or pertains to communication between the state and one of their witnesses, or it is not relevant to the guilt or innocence of Rick. Conversations between Liggett and Holman while the prosecutor is present to discuss trial strategy is work product and confidential. The decision of when to hire a blood spatter expert for the trial is at the discretion of the prosecutor, and not only is Holman not in a position to answer that, but the state's strategy as to when to hire a blood spatter expert is work product and confidential. Conversations between Warden Gallipo and the attorneys for the Department of Corrections are confidential as attorney-client communications. Continuing, Conversations between Mr. Robinson and his attorney are confidential. The purpose of the Unified Command meeting is not only not relevant to the guilt or innocence of Rick, but also confidential as the prosecutor was involved in those conversations, which included work product. Stephen Mullen answered the questions the defense posed to the best of his ability. Simply because he did not answer them the way the defense wanted is not a valid reason to ask for court intervention. Also filed on September 27th, related to the same issue, non-party Indiana Department of Corrections response to defendant's motion to compel deponents to answer certified questions. This was 7 pages, filed by the Indiana Department of Correction. The summary was they objected to all but one of the 7 questions directed to Gallipo and Robinson because the information is protected by attorney-client privilege. Next up, on September 27th, state's motion in limine regarding defense witness, 3 pages, filed by the prosecution. So McClelland was requesting an order prohibiting the testimony by William Tobin, a defense witness, regarding firearm examination until a hearing outside the presence of the jury can determine the relevance of his testimony. Tobin was deposed by the state and testified he is a forensic metallurgist and material scientist. Metallurgy, domain of materials science that studies the physical and chemical behaviors of metals. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in metallurgy and a Master of Arts degree in special studies, which he testified was primarily the study of law. When he has been an expert in court, it has always been as a forensic metallurgist or material scientist. He has not examined the evidence in this case, though he reviewed reports and notes of the state's firearms examiner, Melissa Oberg. He has not reviewed all of her materials, but he has, quote, what he typically needs to be able to opine on the methodology that's used, end quote. Tobin said Oberg's conclusions are based on a flawed methodology, the AFTE, which is the Association of Firearm and Tool Mark Examiners, their theory of identification, and this theory is what almost all firearm examiners follow, whether or not they are members of AFTE. Continuing, Tobin is not an expert in the field of firearms examination, unlike defense witness Dr. Eric Warren, who is a member of AFTE. Tobin's expected testimony will be that all firearms examiners, including Oberg and Warren, follow a flawed methodology and their opinions are not scientifically reliable. The prosecution believes Tobin lacks the qualifications to testify regarding the firearm examination in this case, and that his knowledge is not such that it would, quote, help the trier of fact to understand the evidence or to determine a fact in issue, end quote. The probative value of Mr. Tobin's testimony would be substantially outweighed by a danger of confusing the issues and misleading the jury. The question of whether or not Mr. Tobin should be permitted to testify is very similar to a recent case of Caden Smith, who was represented by Hennessy and Baldwin, where the judge ruled Tobin would not be permitted to testify. That judge said, quote, the witness, Mr. Tobin, was being called by the defense to testify only as to the shortcomings of firearms examination in general. This witness has not tested or reviewed any of the evidence in this cause. The defendant, Caden Smith, will have the opportunity to cross-examine the state's witness to present his defense as the shortcomings of firearms examination, end quote. Next up, on September 27th, the prosecution filed a 2-page document, State's Objection to Defendant's Motion for Jury to View Scene. The summary was, McClelland objects to Gull ordering the jury to be transported to view the crime scene. The terrain where the bodies were found is dangerous and crosses 2 private landowners' property. It would require a lot of time while ensuring the jury are sequestered from the public and outside influences. The areas where the bodies were found and the old CPS building are different than 2017. The state will present exhibits, maps, and drone footage of the area. Any benefits of the jury visiting these areas is outweighed by the dangers and to the fairness of the trial. The state does not believe it is proper to have the jury view the scene or the other various areas. September 30th, Courthouse Management and Decorum Order, 7 pages, filed by Judge Gull. The summary is, jury selection will be October 14th to the 16th, Monday through Wednesday, in Allen County Superior Court. Gull invites media to meet with her and the attorneys on October 17th at 3 p.m. in the Carroll Circuit Court at the Carroll County Courthouse to discuss this order. The trial is scheduled to begin October 17th, 2024, and last through November 15th. So if she said the media can meet her on the 17th at 3 p.m., are opening statements in the morning and early afternoon and expected to finish by 3 p.m.? I'm not sure what's going on. The time is going to be 9 a.m. to approximately 6 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. At some point, they were also going to have the trial on Saturdays because the jury is sequestered, but it appears that the jury will have Saturday and Sunday off. There will be a recess for lunch and brief recesses in the morning and afternoon. Media cannot bring in any audio or video recording device, camera, cell phone, tablet, etc. So I tried to look to see how many seats total there are in this courtroom. I believe there might be 72 total. I think there are 4 rows on each side, separated by an aisle, with 9 seats each. Gull has allocated 10 seats each to the defense and prosecution, 20 seats for the families, and 12 for the media. So 20 for the attorneys, 20 for families, and 12 for media is 52. So does that mean there's only 20 left for the public? General public will be allocated the balance. If seats are in high demand, media may be limited to 1 rep from each organization. Unoccupied seats may be given to the general public. Continuing, the media shall make no attempt to contact or question prospective or impaneled jurors until the court has discharged the juror. At the end of the trial, the court will ask jurors if they are interested in speaking with the press. The court will facilitate a location inside the courthouse where press will be permitted to interview jurors, if any, who wish to comment. On September 30th, News Media Coalition's motion to inspect public trial exhibits, 5 pages, filed by the News Media Coalition. The summary is, they requested Judge Gull allow inspection of the non-sealed exhibits from the July 30th to August 1st, 2024 hearings, the trial, and other hearings that may occur. In support, the News Media Coalition states the following. On August 26th of this summer, WTHR requested inspection of the July 30th to August 1st public exhibits, either electronically or a physical inspection at the Allen County Courthouse. 4 days later, Judge Gull said, the exhibits that are not confidential or subject to non-disclosure will be available after the trial concludes. If there is a conviction, the availability would be delayed until after the sentencing hearing. So if Frick is found guilty, he does not get sentenced that same day. Any inspection would occur in the Allen County Courthouse, denying the News Media Coalition, and by extension the public, access to exhibits already entered into the public record for 3 months or longer violates the United States Constitution and common law public access rights. On October 1st, defendant's notice of submission of supplemental witness and exhibit list to the state, also the state's notice of submission of trial exhibit list to the defense. So it was filed by the defense and the prosecution. The summary is the defense attorneys gave their witness and exhibit list to the prosecution, and the prosecution gave their exhibit list to the defense. I guess they're still waiting on the witness list. Also October 1st, precipe for transcript, 1 page, filed by the defense. They're requesting the transcript from the August 23rd, 2024 closed status hearing, which will be relevant to end of assistance at the trial. That was that day when there was a closed hearing, and there was supposed to be a public hearing right after, but that got canceled. It has never been publicly revealed what that closed hearing was about. Finally, 2 various updates. Trial costs are doubling. The Carroll County Auditor is asking the County Council for $2.4 million more to pay for the trial. I saw different articles. One said 2.2 million, the other one was 2.4. They need more money because 2 more weeks have been added since the first cost estimate, including transportation, hotel rooms and food for the jury, and judges' staff from Allen County. Also, Rick now has 3 public defenders plus expert witnesses. However, the county will save some money because the county is a member of the Indiana Public Defender Commission, which will reimburse up to 40% of defense costs. The Carroll County Council will meet October 17th at the courthouse. Finally, former Rushville law enforcement officer / the guy who said Odinus did it, Todd Click, was arrested while working as an assessment worker for Indiana Department of Child Services from July 2023 through March 2024 when he resigned. Todd Click is accused of submitting 10 reports or more with false information of family visits and at least 7 forged signatures of parents and caregivers. Judge Gull previously said that the defense cannot even bring up the Odinus theory, so it's unlikely that Todd Click would even be testifying at the trial. So those are the latest updates, and now I'll get to your comments in the chat. Hi, everybody from around the world. Let's see. Sorry. Um. Anyway, why am I laughing already? Yeah. Hopefully, finally, a trial is going to happen in this case. Finally, the truth may be revealed. We'll have to wait and find out. So here we go. Yes, I had a horrible trip cleaning my uncle's apartment, then getting kicked out because I couldn't figure out why DoorDash wouldn't deliver alcohol to him. But then I went to Waikiki and I chilled in the ocean for like 30 minutes before I took a red eye back. So I'm not happy. Anyway, Purple Amaryllis. Hi. If I was on the jury, I would want to see the crime scene. I don't understand the state's objection. I could see how they don't want to risk like a 70-year-old falling going to the crime scene. Also, the bridge has been partially renovated. So, like halfway through Monon High Bridge, it has like new whatever a railing and stuff like that, and then the other half to the south side is the same old train tracks that. So there's a gate that doesn't even open. So I don't know how the defense expects all these jurors to walk across the entire bridge to the part where bridge guy said, "Guys, go down the hill," and then what? Like actually go down the hill? I don't know. Anyway, next. Next thing that triggers me. Hi, Kay. Thank you for thanking me. SP74, remember the cost of ketchup on election day. All right, I'll try. Hi, Xtina. When Gull says that the families get 20 seats, is that only 10 for Libby and Abby's family and 10 for Rick's family? Doesn't seem fair. I don't know. Her order only said 20 for the family, so that's a good question. And if so, does that mean there's going to be even less than 20 for the public? Somebody on Facebook said they're expecting like 100 students who are studying law to show up at the trial to try to, I guess, experience a big case. Yeah, it's going to be crazy for people trying to get in. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. Hi, Aaron. Depending on age and health conditions of jurors, crime scene visit could be dangerous. And who's like mostly available to be on a jury for a month? I'm not going to say like older people, but older people. We'll see. Hi, this name changes every time. Jerry gonna swat some Delulu bishes. Jerry Holman. Anyone else love Tom's new merch? What, my Cooking with Strangers? Anyway, nobody does. Nobody buys it. Ah, it's expensive, but I don't know how to get it to be less. I only make like $2 off of the $30 apron. Anyway, we're here to talk about Delphi, but thank you. Hi, Bill's Gavel. Good point, Xtina. What if Alan, you didn't proofread, what if Alan doesn't use all 10 seats as well? Will those be up for the public or media? Seems like the public. We'll see. What's going to happen when Judge Gull sachets and shantays up the entrance and sees like there's 100 or 150 people in the public waiting to get inside? Somebody made a good point that if there's an extra like courtroom available in that courthouse, like the overflow should have been allowed to at least sit in a courtroom that has like an audio or video feed from the main courtroom. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Hi, Anne. Hard to think it would be dangerous to their health. The whole path has been widened and repaved, and the bridge itself rehabbed, at least as far as I've seen reported. No, but the defense wants them to go through the woods to see where Abby and Libby were found. And like going around that way or any way to get to that point is hazardous. Malibu, hi. The costs are no longer sensible. Like $4 million for this guy, bridge guy, whoever he was. He had this motive, and it's caused not just financial issues, but obviously so many for a lot of people. Let's see. Hi, YouTube bad actors. I don't know about Tim, but Tom was Tom was in Maui for 5 days and then Oahu for 3, cleaning my uncle's nasty apartment. Anyway, ex Tina with her shade. It cost this defense team 12,000 for every irrelevant photo. That's why the trial is costing $4 million. Side number one. I don't know that that $12,000 was ever reimbursed. I believe it came up at a point where Baldwin and the defense were looking to have Gull reimbursed for this photo that cost $12,000 to go to Georgia to get this photo of BH's Facebook or whatever. Anyway, hi, Lily. Anne says, quote unquote, we out here in social media land blew this case up to these preposterous proportions. You're welcome, taxpayers of Carroll County, $200 for every person in Carroll County, including babies. Oh, too bad they can't get a newspaper route since there's no more newspapers. Anyway, that's like third time I've said anyway. All right, keep it moving. Yeah, so for Rick's family, I think only his wife and mom have been the only people who have been going to the hearings at least. We'll see. A lot of us have been talking about would his daughter show up for the trial. I don't know that a lot of these people, the family members, can even take off a month from their jobs to attend. Hi, Jer. Thank you so much for your generosity. I don't know if you meant to put a comment there, but thank you. I really appreciate that. CA, are you from Canada? We love people from Canada. Thank you. Malibu is over the Odinist theory. I am too, I would say, because I've not seen any proof that there was any validity to it, to any of them being there. Obviously, this guy, EF, there's some suspicious stuff with him telling his sister and stuff like that, that he was there. What's that all about? It seems like police did not believe him or even his sister. They said she had some issues also. And as I've said many times, yes, that is suspicious about this guy, EF. But that does not answer all the suspicious things about Richard Allen. So this trial is about Richard Allen, and we'll finally see all this evidence that we have not been privy to. Lily Shaw is not sure why Nick is worried about the defense questions. Ask him. Hi, Crime Jester. Hi, Charlie. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So the defense wanted Rick to go out to the bridge with the jury. CJK says Allen should have to walk it first, see if it's safe for others. Well, have him wear an outfit that looks like bridge guys with his hands in his pocket and tell him to walk towards the jury at the south end of the bridge. And tell him to then say, guys, go down the hill. Obviously, if he is bridge guy, he would change everything. Yeah, so in my members live chat yesterday, we were talking, or I was talking, what are you, I don't want to say most looking forward to, but what are you most interested in finally finding out or seeing or hearing? Rick's phone calls with, not just the phone calls to his wife and mom, every one of these supposed confessions. The 127 Hoosier Harvest Store camera, the video showing a car resembling Rick's headed towards CPS at 127 and not away. Is that Rick's car? Is there anything different from his car as we know it from like the photos from October 2022 when he was arrested? Witness testimony. Everybody wants to hear what witness 4 had to say, like when she saw bridge guy on platform 1, she said he was 20 years old with poofy hair. The 357 driver on 300 North, what color jacket was that guy wearing? The defense said at some point, she said it was beige or tan and not dark blue. Did he have a hood on? Did he have a hat on? It seems as though the 357 driver was the main person who gave the sketch of the older guy, sketch number 1 that was released. These 4 witnesses, I'm very interested to hear these 4 young girls who are now, I guess, not so young. I want to hear them say, what time did they arrive at the start of the trail? It seems like they walked past all 6 benches as they went to Monon High Bridge, took a photo at 12:43. They may have gone back. What path did they take? Did they go back to the Mears intersection, then go down the 505 trail, which goes down to the creek, then go back up and walk past all 6 benches again? And in an hour from like 12:30 to 1:30, they never saw Richard Allen when he said he was there on a bench, on the trail, on the bridge. What else are you guys interested to finally find out? Jennifer being kind. Big hugs to anyone who needs them. Hugs, everyone. I need a drink. All right, here we go. Hi, Lorelei. Hope I pronounced it right. How are folks going to cover this with all the restrictions? Terrible decision. Sigh number 2. I don't know. What happens if there's only like 20 people who get in? I mean, some of them have YouTube channels, but apparently a lot of people who don't have YouTube channels are not, or who are going to be there. How is information going to be disseminated to all of you people in Scotland and Australia and stuff like that? Hi, Norwegian Muse. YouTube bad actors. Biggest mistake not to at least have audio. Yeah, I don't see why she could not have, Judge Gull could not have allowed audio. Sign number 3. I mean, what's going to happen? Are there going to be like transcripts that are going to cost thousands of dollars for a month of trial transcripts? No, I'm not complaining that I'm going to have to summarize 1,000 pages of hearing or whatever trial transcripts, but we'll see. Hi, Miss North's musings. I personally think they should see the bridge and certainly down the hill and around the bend. That should be figured into the jury selection. Age and health should be entered into the equation. McLean said he's going to include drone footage, maps, and I guess photos. I've seen, yeah, so here comes some firsthand experience. So obviously I looked at drone footage, maps, and photos of that everything that the defense, except for the crime scene. I never went there. I saw all that for years. And I went to Delphi for these hearings in May that got canceled. And I went to Freedom Bridge. I passed by CPS parking lot. I walked the entire trail. That was obviously renovated a little bit. And I walked the Monon High Bridge. I stopped at the middle in the gate. Did it add any perspective to me? I would say the main thing that I was interested in was obviously witness 4 said she saw this young guy on platform 1, which is about 50 feet away. So I was most interested to figure out, like, if I stood in the spot or essentially the same spot where witness 4 did, and somebody else was standing near where platform 1 was, could I determine their age, eye color, eye shape? And I felt like I could not. So I don't know how good I mean, that was like the only thing that I really gleaned from my visit. So I don't know that a physical visit by the jury is going to really add anything to their final decision. I think they can make, I don't know, the proper decision based on a bunch of other facts. And as I said, it's like it's not like they're not going to see any of this stuff. McClellan said he's going to show like drone footage. Who knows what the defense is going to show if they can't take them there personally. Thank you for buying an apron, Jerry. Gull's gavel, not just to be on a jury, but to be sequestered. I'm still surprised they are being fully sequestered. A month? Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are. If they're not allowed to look at their cell phones, any kind of computers for a month, can they call their family members? Is somebody going to be listening on the phone from the court system to make sure they're not discussing certain things? One of my biggest concerns is that like something with the jury is going to totally derail this trial. Like jury shenanigans. Lisa hopes they closed circuit TV to the local hotel ballroom. I don't think so. Do it to the Dairy Queen. I'll hang out there. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Hooky Bricks Hooky. Visiting crime scenes is only dangerous during the crimes actually happening. Well, I mean, a lot of people have said like going to the actual like down Ron Logan's hill. I don't mean down the hill, but like down from Ron Logan's property down to the crime scene. Or even just going from the start of Mona High Bridge, there's like a trail there. A lot of people have said it is not an easy walk. And as I said, if there's like people in their 70s on the jury, is that really worth risking one of them tripping and not by smoking doobie? Well, I don't know. We'll see. I assume Judge Gull will say no. We'll see. Hi, Katja. You missed the first part where I said I'm not happy. Ah, but nice to see you. Let's see. Ray says, I still don't believe Richard Allen did this. Well, there's some people who don't believe he did it, and some people are convinced he did it. However, we still have not seen all the evidence, so let's wait and see what we think at the end of November. I just hope that the jury obviously sees and hears everything that the prosecution has, the defense. Rick has a good defense. And I just want the jury to make the correct decision. If Rick was guilty, please find him guilty. If he's innocent, please find him innocent. Lisbeth still fears the trial will be delayed. I hope I'm wrong. We all hope you're wrong. Yeah. It's not seeming like the defense is going to delay it in this next week, so we'll see. In case you're wondering about future Tom live chats, I don't know what would be filed in this next week that would necessitate. I'm using a lot of big words today. A live chat next weekend. If there's stuff to talk about, I will do live chats next weekend. But my next like public live chats will be Thursday, October 17th. I will start. I'm regretting this already. I will do live chats every day of the trial. They're supposed to stop at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, or sorry, 6 p.m. Eastern, which is New York City time. Probably next weekend, I will like schedule all of these live chats for like a month, like just the placeholders. So we're just gonna have to wait and I have to find people who are going to like update me about what happened in the courtroom. So even though I'm going to schedule it for like 6:30 p.m., I might start it at 5:45 p.m. Eastern if court gets out early. I will not be doing live chats on Saturdays and Sundays. So who knows what's going to happen? Hi, Didi. I forgive you for being late. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Anna. I once figured out cost of trial per citizen of underpopulated Carroll County. but someone said the state will pick up a lot of the cost, right or wrong. Um, what I read at the beginning was that Carroll County is part of, I guess, the Indiana Public Defenders Association. And I think it said they will cover up to 40% of the defense costs, which I think have been over $500,000 as of 2 months ago. But as the auditor of Carroll County, I guess, was saying, is a lot of these extended costs or additional are because the trial is 2 weeks longer. So it's housing these people in a Motel 6. I'm kidding. I don't know where they're staying, but feeding them. So that's not really defense costs that will be reimbursed by the Public Defenders Association. SP 74. I doubt if Rick wants his wife and mother at the trial. Well, I think at these August hearings, it was stated that Rick told people, maybe Dr. Walla, his psychiatrist at Westville, that he doesn't want his family to see what he did, which if he's innocent, why would he care since he didn't do anything? So his wife and mom have been at almost all these hearings. In August, it was mentioned that they did leave when the blood spatter expert was talking about like the horrific injuries that Abby and Libby suffered. So, I mean, I would think that his wife and mom absolutely want to hear the final evidence against their son and husband. So if they have any concerns at this point, if he's innocent or guilty, then they want to see all the evidence to know if it's true or not. That's not going to happen. Hi, Dark Sacred Night. I hope Judge Gull decides to stream the trial. You tried it, she denied it. The court would be in control of the feed. Why not? Well, she allowed it for one hearing where she, I don't know, there was drama with the defense team. And after that, she said whoever was streaming it, I don't know if it was Court TV, but she said they didn't follow the rules. She didn't specify if it was because they started too early or they panned the camera in a certain direction they weren't supposed to. So ever since then, she has not even given them a second chance, which I think is ridiculous. What's this? Anna says, heck, the new rumor is that Odinus set up Todd Click. Seriously, there are some saying his arrest is a conspiracy to deny Richard Allen a defense. Obviously, his charges are alleged. However, nobody forced Todd Click to allegedly falsify reports and forge signatures. So if you don't want to get in trouble, don't do illegal stuff. And especially wasn't he supposed to like be looking out for abused children and not actually doing his job correctly? I don't know. That's the rumor or the allegation. Thank you, Jer. I appreciate your comment. SP 74, it would be a terrible commute for the jurors if they were not sequestered. Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, Carroll County is where the murders happened. It's a small town, or sorry, a small town and county. So it was determined that they could not find a fair jury with the locals. So they're getting them from like, I think an hour to two away in Allen County. The first 3 days, they're going to be picking, I guess, 12 jurors. And I'm not sure how many, what are the extra ones called? Alternates? Yeah, alternates. So then I guess on Wednesday, October 16th, they're going to take some kind of Uber or something, a Hummer stretch limo, and drive to Carroll County and be there for a month. Ay, ay, ay. Things that people are interested in finding out at the trial. Duchess, the letters to the warden. Yes, I agree. Charlie, want to go outside? Ah, sorry. That's an inside joke. Well, Kate, hi, Kate. I want to see what his daughter, Rick's daughter, says on the stand. Well, who said that she's going to be on the stand? I'm not saying you're wrong, but so there is something called spousal privilege, I believe. And that means that Rick's wife does not have to testify about anything. That reminds me, One of the things I'm very interested in seeing and hearing is we know October 13th, 2022, police showed up at Rick and his wife's house and said, let's talk. Was there a body cam with a microphone? What was his reaction? What was his wife's reaction? What did they say when they went down to the police station on the 13th and also October 26th? That's going to be interesting. Not sure if that's going to even be played at the trial or come into play. We'll see. Yeah, this is also something very interesting. Tina, aren't you on vacation? I am most interested in Rick's phone data that day. Word up. And what his actions were the evening after the murder and before. There's a rumor that he went to his mom's house before he went to the trail. Also, the car data, which I've been saying for so long, but I assume it got overwritten on his car's computer during the 5.5 years before they actually arrested him. But yeah, we all know that Rick said he was on a stock ticker looking on his phone as he walked from, I guess, Freedom Bridge and CPS to the High Bridge. What is his phone going to show? We'll see. Hi, Salty Beach. I want to know if they found anything else at his property. I think the defense has said in a filing that they did not. Like, there's nothing in the search of Rick's house that really connects him to the murders, other than obviously this whole issue with the unspent round. I want to know, like, what brand was the unspent round? Did it match one of Rick's rounds at his home? I think there's a Winchester and Blazer were the gun bullets and rounds found at Rick's house. Was the round next to the bodies a Winchester or Blazer? We'll see. Yeah, and like what was Rick's wife's like recollection of that night? Did she come home from work? What was Rick acting like if she remembers? Ann says most interested in hearing defense's build of a timeline for Rick all that day, before and after bridge visit, from digital records, etc. Yes. Hi, Lady Monet. The state of Indiana subsidizes the salaries of prosecutors and judges. The state does help on trial costs. Big trials were bankrupting counties. Yeah, like $4 million for one case and trial. This is just a trial, not the actual like investigation. Sigh number 3 or 4. Lorelei, hope I'm pronouncing this right. Is most interested. What led them to Richard Allen? Led them to find the misfiled tip narrative. Very good point. A lot of us also want to hear what Dan Doolin, the conservation officer, has to say. Like, what was his interaction with Rick or his recollection of that? How did he supposedly audio record all of his interviews, but not the one with Rick? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Rick truly did come on to or end up at the grocery store in Delphi in a few days after the murders, or exactly what day in 2017 did he truly call the police? Did they say, okay, we're busy at the headquarters, meet this guy, a conservation officer at the local grocery store? Should be interesting, but I'm not sure that that's even going to come up at the trial. We'll see. Hi, Katsu. I'm also wondering if Rick's wife will testify if the rumors about their marriage are true. The rumors are that she was seen at the last hearing without her wedding ring and maybe said like she considers her marriage over. So as always, stay tuned for what happens at the actual trial. Jerry says, Jerry gonna swat some Delulu Bishop says, I want to know if Tom deliberately matched his shirt to the sky. Yes, I did. I was gonna use another one that was green, which actually I'm gonna change it right now. Please stand by. So here we go. 30-second diversion. I have a YouTube member named Kevin who is a golf pro on the island of Oahu at this club. I knew I was going to do it wrong. Koalau, I probably pronounced it wrong. Golf club on Oahu. I told him that I was coming there, and I said, "Would you do an episode of Cooking with Strangers with me?" Which is my new series that I'm filming and going to upload in 2025. This is beautiful. It was an amazing visit to Kevin's golf club. His groundskeeper taught me how to make Hawaiian chicken, and there was an 8-year-old girl that Kevin was giving a golf lesson to. She was so funny. So stay tuned for that. All right, that's that. I'll leave this one on. How dare you call me out for my shirt color? All right, here we go. Hi, Mary Elizabeth. I really want to hear Rick's voice and confessions. Very good point. We've all heard Libby's video saying, "Guys, go down the hill." Well, not we, but the jury is going to hear Rick's phone calls to his wife saying, "I'm guilty." Will his voice sound similar enough to the bridge guy's voice saying, "Guys, go down the hill," that jury members are going to think, yes, that is the guy, or no, that doesn't match up, so I'm not going to vote that he's guilty. We shall see. Lady, Lady Monet, it would be hard to provide security out on the trails for the jury. I mean, they could block it off, like with police tape at mirrors and stuff like that, and all the looky-loo crazies would just be kept out, I guess. We'll see. Norwegian Muse, I wonder if we'll see the entire 43-second video off Libby's phone. I would assume the jury would. Not sure if that's ever going to be released publicly. So one of the things I reviewed in my PowerPoint summaries is the news organization wants all of these exhibits from every hearing and the trial to be publicly released. Judge Gull said it depends on if and when Rick is convicted, and if he's convicted, then after he is sentenced, which is like when he's given a certain number of years in prison if he's found guilty, which may take up to like a few weeks or a few months before that sentencing hearing. So it might not be until 2025 when some of these, I don't know, this evidence is released publicly. I'm not sure how that process all works. Hi, this account. Nice to see you. Hi, N. Hi, Annie. This account, will transcripts be available? Probably not until, I don't know, maybe December 2024 or 2025. I would assume that if the court report is working Monday through Friday all day, they're not going to have time to like review each day and then get it out within a few days or a few weeks. So I would assume after the entire trial. But I think it costs like $5 per page. How many pages are there going to be? 1,000? Like, so somebody's going to have to pay $5,000 to get the transcripts. SP74 says we can get the trial transcript after his appellate attorneys pay for it. Well, you're assuming that he's going to be found guilty and then he's going to appeal. Maybe if he is guilty and he's found guilty, he'll accept his sentence and not appeal. Obviously, this whole issue of an appeal has been talked about so much because, let's just say, there's been some boo-boos or controversial things done by the police and I guess the prosecutor and all that other stuff and the judge. So some people think that Rick has a good case if he does appeal. We have to wait for him to be convicted if he's guilty, and then if he wants to appeal, that's his decision. Don't forget to pat your cat. All right, thank you. So one of my cooking with strangers, sorry, I'll try to keep this short. On the island of Maui, every time I've pretty much gone to the Maui Humane Society to pet cats that are up for adoption because my uncle, as I've said, he's a jerk and he doesn't get out of bed until like noon. So I would go there in the mornings and I contacted them saying, I'm on the island. Would you be interested in having somebody like do an episode of Cooking with Strangers where people, like random people, teach me a recipe? So they said, sure, come on over. And they taught me a recipe for cats and a recipe for dogs. So if you have animals, you might want to watch that episode coming soon in a few weeks or a few months when I get around to editing. Back to Delphi. Kate B, I want to see what the sealed documents contain. Yeah, me too. But will they ever be revealed if they're sealed? Yeah, I did not put this in my PowerPoint summaries, but the defense filed an ex parte motion in the past week or so. Ex parte means only the defense is supposed to see it and Judge Gall, which this has been an issue because if you remember, I'm sure you do, there's a whole drama with McClelland getting access to ex parte documents that he should not have. So, what did the defense feel they needed to seal? And when is it going to be revealed? I don't know. I wish I had Taco Bell as my next meal. Sorry. I was rhyming in case you didn't get it. Anna, could be the whole defense application to have the jury go to the trails with Rick present is just a ploy to say their client isn't too afraid, ashamed, etc., to go to the trails. I mean, did they even run that by Rick to see if he wanted to go? I don't know. Like, if he is the killer, which he said to his wife and mom he was, like, why would he even want to do that? Anyway, we'll see what happens. Anne says, maybe remember this is all about the jury. It's the jury that's going to render a verdict or not. And in my opinion, a small closed courtroom and sequestered jury is optimally conducive to coherency of trial, in my opinion. Sign number 5. Yeah, you're not wrong. Anna says, surely, I don't know about that, the prosecution got more evidence from a search of Rick's home that a gun matched the unspent round, some old clothes, and a keepsake BO book. There must be a lot more. We'll be surprised. Yeah, I think we really should remind ourselves that there's a lot of stuff, I would assume. According to the defense, there is stuff that has not been revealed. That's not good for Rick. Um, Stay tuned. Speaking of clothes, one of the things I'm most interested in seeing, and I'm sure you all are too, there was a blue Carhartt jacket taken from Rick's house in October 2022. Does the material match Rick's, or sorry, not Rick's, the bridge guy's jacket, where you can see in the pocket, which like bridge guys is like more of a windbreaker material that's lighter. So this Carhartt jacket, most of them are like a heavier material where you could not see the outline of an item in a pocket. Going to be interesting to see. Because if it does not match Bridge Guy's jacket, then the question is, like, did Rick have access to another jacket that he could have worn as Bridge Guy? We'll see. Duchess, yeah, I've tried to like protect like the privacy of witnesses and Odinists, but their names are going to become public, I guess, in the next week or two. So I guess I'll start like referring to people by their actual names. Duchess, so witness 4 is the guy who saw Bridge Guy, sorry, the woman who saw Bridge Guy on platform 1 around 1:53, a few minutes before she turned around and saw Abby and Libby. So witness 4 is Betsy Blair. And Duchess says Betsy Blair didn't even want to help with the sketch. She was pressured by law enforcement, which was revealed at the August hearings. I don't think she was confident in what she saw either. Well, the first part of that appears to be correct, but she said it's a 10 out of 10 of who she saw, the sketch, the young guy sketch. So we'll see. I want to know what her eyesight was. And again, that's not like being rude. But as I said, I was 50 feet away where she stood, and I was wearing contacts, and I could not see somebody standing around platform 1 very well. So we'll see. Lady Monet, I do not think the defense would want the jury to see Rick walk on that bridge. So the first half of the bridge is not the old train track, so it's a lot easier to walk than the second half. I don't think anybody's going to be walking on that second half of the old train tracks. It's just too dangerous. Mama Cat PI, good point. Hopefully, finally, after almost 8 years, justice for Abby and Libby and their families and everybody. And Richard Allen does deserve a fair trial. If he's guilty, though, I don't care what happens to him. But if he's innocent, he deserves millions of dollars. Well, hopefully there's enough evidence to prove either way. The royal we is upset that people can't look at TikTok on their phones. That's completely unreasonable to deprive the jury of their phones for an entire month. Well, as I think Anne or Anna was saying, you have to like make sure the jury is not screwing around and doing anything, researching this case. It's going to prevent maybe Rick from getting a fair trial, the victims from getting a fair trial. So I guess Judge Gull feels like they need to be cut off from society, I guess. I'm not sure the exact rules of being sequestered. Ex Tina doesn't think hotels in Delphi have ballrooms. There's not even a hotel in Delphi. Yeah, when I went to Delphi for the canceled hearings, I was there for 3 days and I went to Dairy Queen all 3 days. Jim, being shady, I wonder if any witnesses reported seeing a hobbit. Well, that's going to come. Jim, don't make me say stuff. That's going to come up because the defense is going to say these 4 girls around 1:30 near bench 2 to the start of the trail said that the guy who passed them, one of the girls said she came up to his shoulder. Rick is 5'4", 5'5", and that girl I think was 5'6". So that doesn't add up to it being Rick. Again, like all this stuff, hopefully there's going to be some clarification at the trial. The royal we, these people should not sign up if they don't agree to the rules. People will be trying to get kicked off. Hello. People will be trying to get kicked off so they can use their phones. They'll run out of jurors in a week. Uh-oh. Don't say that. Anne says that Rick cannot be made to walk the bridge, etc., or even speak. That'd be self-incrimination, unless he chooses to get up on the stand, which I highly doubt will happen. Yeah. Does anybody think that Rick is going to get on the stand and say, I'm falsely accused? I don't think so. We've talked about this a lot. I said that if I was falsely accused as being bridge guy, I absolutely would get on the stand and decimate the prosecution for their false lies and stuff and facts. Everybody says, no, you wouldn't. Your attorneys would say no, but I'm not sitting at the defendant's table. As a prosecutor said, I killed 2 kids that I did not kill. So I understand people saying that the attorneys are supposed to speak for the defendant, but like, I don't know. I'm not sitting at the defendant's table and then getting found guilty and being like, oh, whoops, maybe I should have stood up for myself and spoken the truth. Moving along, I'm sure people are freaking out. It's okay. Ah, this account, is it decided if the jury will walk down the heel? Hell no. There's no way they could even like a 20-year-old juror should not be walking down that steep hill. Ruby is talking to the mountain in the background. Yes, I have to mention Doobie and Taco Bell each live chat. Anna says, way back, it was said Bridge Guy had a cap or hat with a very short brim, like a painter's hat. Some have suggested he wore a brownish knitted ski mask thing with a tiny brim over eyes. Could look like hair. Well, Rick was photographed at the local bar playing pool with a dark green. Which color? Oh my god, I always get it wrong. Like this kind of colorish. Is it navy green or sorry, army green? Um, well, we'll find out. Did police take any items from his house that matched Bridge Guy's clothing? Was Rick's wife shown the Bridge Guy video and specifically asked, did Rick have boots like Bridge Guy, jeans like Bridge Guy, a blue jacket? All of us have debated this brown thing around Bridge Guy's waist. Is it a brown shirt or sweatshirt or like a fanny pack? What's on Bridge Guy's head? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to reveal. Gull's gavel, yes. So your mom, Gull, who's holding you, said that the jury viewing the crime scene, there's going to be a hearing after the jury is selected. She says, so the decision might depend on who the jurors are. Are they gonna have to like do track and field events to see if they qualify to like walk through the woods? Hi, big fish, small pond. Hi, Jinx. Hello, darling. Why has nobody mentioned that the crime scene is on private property? Well, McClellan said they would have to cross to private property. If a jury member hurt themselves getting down the hill, who's liable? The homeowner. I guess Ron Logan's son still owns his property. I mean, that's a good point, and probably something that Judge Gull doesn't even want to get into. Lady Monet says the north end of bridge is now barricaded. The north end is the start from the trail. You're saying that's now barricaded? High shadow aspect. I'm assuming you're talking about Rick. I think Rick is culpable, but still open to the possibility of others' involvement. Well, as I've said, I want to see all the evidence. I think there's a lot of stuff that Rick needs to answer and the defense needs to answer that just don't add up to him being innocent, in my opinion. But if he's truly like confessing, why have none of these like 60 to 100 confessions not mentioned any other people? I'll say. Apparently, he did say the motive in one of his like confessions. So maybe we'll find out and get some clarification if it's a one person thing or a group. Yay, we love Tom live chats. So if you're joining late, I will be doing a live chat every night of the trial. As of now, not sure if that's going to change. Please be polite to each other in the chat or The moderators will ban you. Thank you. I don't know about that, purple. How far behind am I? How far are we going? We're at 1 hour and 5 minutes. I'll probably go to like 1 hour and 59 minutes. I am, hold on, I'm confused. I'm a half hour behind. Oh well. Yeah, so I'll see your comments in a half hour. If the defense can't bring up third party perpetrators, what are they going to do for their 2 weeks of presentation? Previously, Brad Rosie said they needed 2 weeks, which I totally agree that if the prosecution is given a certain amount of time, the defense should not be limited to their time to defend Rick. So I just don't understand like what they're really going to talk about for 2 weeks. However, like, is this going to go even longer than a month? It seems like there's a lot of stuff to present. So we'll see. Anna makes a good point. 2 batches. Well, actually, it's three. No, I'm saying like obviously Baldwin and Rosie have said Rick is innocent. Let me just read your thing before I start rambling. 2 batches of defense attorneys have stated plainly that Rick is innocent. Do they really believe that, or do they believe the state's case has so many problems that it will be hard to prove guilt? Um, I said 3 batches because the temporary attorney William Labredo, he's the one who went on a few TV shows and said Rick is 100% innocent. Robert Scremin did not publicly say anything. So that's that. Some people are talking about Rick's wife taking off her wedding ring does not necessarily mean that she's whatever divorcing, doesn't believe him. We'll see. Lady Monet, Floyd County, Indiana, spent millions prosecuting David Cam. I think he's that police officer who was sign number 6. He was, I think he had 3 trials or something, and he was falsely accused. And there's like a lot of like shady, like really, as Miss Monet says, then he got $3+ million in damages for prosecutorial misconduct. Yeah, like somebody told me to look into that case, and I did, just to like learn about how police officers and prosecutors are shady, and like, that was a crazy case. So we'll see if Rick gets money. Anne says the Karen Reed trial, which is out of like Boston, where she supposedly backed up into her boyfriend during a snowstorm and killed him. Karen Reed trial is a study in how not to arrange a trial. Court was only in session 3 to 4 days a week, never past 4:30, jury not sequestered, YouTube guy charged with harassing witnesses, allowed in as press. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I didn't really watch that much of it, but it was weird. Like they would have days off. Anyway, I'm not frozen. I'm just looking for something we haven't discussed yet. Hi, hybrid Pisces. Oops. Some conspiracy theory discussion. Anna says online legal experts have said it will be very hard for the jury to get over the confessions, quote unquote, even if there is no substance. Like Ruckus Rock said, Rick had one duty to shut the freak up, and he didn't. Well, it's been said by law enforcement that Rick did reveal things that only the killer would know in his confessions. So, what those things are going to be very relevant to the jury and all of us clowns online. There's been a few rumors, but we won't discuss the rumors. We'll wait for the facts. Salty Beach, I'm only highlighting this not because I agree with you, but because you made a salt reference. I'm taking any I'm taking anything the defense says with a huge bag of salt that you got at Salty Beach. Moving along. Um, yeah, I'm not going to highlight that one. It's a rumor, so I'm not going to highlight it. Ignore me, Muse. Yes, thank you to all you people who've been showing up to these live chats for several years. I truly appreciate my members and my subscribers and everybody who shares their knowledge that I don't know things about. So thank you all, or at least most of you. Ah, and I pronounced Laura lie. Uh-oh. Can you just change your name to Laura? Oh my gosh. Anne says, as far as I know, we've never seen the PCA, probable cause affidavit, for the search of Rick's house. That likely would have some key facts we've not heard before trial. Um, what? Yeah, I forget. There's so many things to remember. Sorry. Lady Monet, the YouTube channel Indie Archives has great drone footage of the trails on his YouTube channel. Yes, he does, and he's graciously allowed me to share it in a video or two. So if you want to see drone footage of like Monon High Bridge and that whole area, look up Indie Archives on YouTube. Anna has an idea. Maybe police had the tip about Rick in 2019 that Doug Carter's impassioned speech was aimed at Rick directly. I respectfully disagree. I think they totally missed it up until September 2022. Hi, Cryptex. What is your feeling today? 1, Rick is guilty and he is the only actor. 2, Rick is guilty and other actors involved. 3, Rick is innocent. The one I'm leaning towards the most is number 1. There's just too many things that don't add up to me about his noon to 1:30 timeline. And like these confessions, yeah, I know that he may have had like some mental issues after 5 months, but I mean, it was revealed that he called his wife a few weeks after he was arrested in November 2022 and said something like, let me know if this gets to be too much for you, and I'll tell the investigators everything they want to know. I don't think he was out of his mind then. And like with these confessions, people saying he was out of his mind, it seemed like he was telling at least the psychiatrist that he was worried, or not even telling the psychiatrist, telling his wife and mom, like, will you still love me? To me, that shows some kind of like sanity that he's telling the truth. So I would say number 1, I do want to see like all the evidence at the trial before I say like he's guilty. But as I've said many times, like when I look at the bridge guy video, I do not see Rick's face jump out at me. But I think it's so blurry that it could be him. I do think the body type matches him. The small feet of bridge guy matches Rick. So I'm leaning towards number one. I just have not seen enough stuff to show that like he's innocent and being falsely accused, or that there's anybody else involved. So I would say the motive, if I had to pick, has always been that Rick would go to the trails fairly often, and he had some kind of sexual motive where he wanted to see two girls do stuff to each other. Could be wrong. I don't have to be right, but that's the if I had to go with one thing, that's what I'm going with. Duchess says, I wonder why the defense decided to withdraw their motion to suppress Rick's second statement, which was October 26, 2022, when Holman said, come pick up your car, but let's talk for an hour before I arrest you. I thought there was a chance they would refile, but I guess not. I think some people thought that the defense wanted to suppress that only because Rick said in that October 26th interview, I never went on Ron Logan's property, and I also never let anybody borrow my gun. So those two statements make this unspent round kind of make Rick look possibly guilty if somebody's going to get, and if somebody from the state is going to get on the stand and say, it's highly likely that that unspent round came from Richard Allen's gun. But as you said, I mean, they did not refile it. So I don't know. The excerpts from that interview, it seemed to me like Rick was responding the way an innocent and not guilty person would respond. But there's like four quotes out of like an hour-long interview. So we'll see. This account, can they do a digital match with voice comparison? Well, I think even in that October 26th interview that I just mentioned, I think that was when Holman told Rick, experts said your voice, that's your voice on Libby's video. Whether he was bluffing or not, Holman was lying, remains to be seen. I think like Inside Edition at one point tried to do a comparison between the Bridge Guy video and maybe Brian James Chadwell. And the voice analysis expert said the sample from Bridge Guy is too short to really do a proper comparison. So we'll see what's presented at the trial. In the very short samples, sorry, I just random things come to my mind. In the very short samples of Rick's voice on his wife's Facebook from videos, I would again say like his voice, like the comparison to Bridge Guy does not jump out to me. Like, yes, that's absolutely him. However, some of you shady people called Rick's cell phone after it came out, and his voicemail says something like the greeting. He says something like Rick, or well, that wasn't good. But to me, that did kind of match Guy's in the Libby video. So we'll see. There's a lot more high quality samples of Rick's voice from his police interviews and his phone calls to his family. So maybe the jury will be able to make a comparison for themselves. Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday in my members live chat. Ann says, I want, or something similar. Ann says, I wonder if witnesses at the trails that day will be asked to indicate if they saw and proofread. I'm kidding. To indicate if they saw the man they. Let me translate this. I wonder if witnesses are going to say that they saw Rick on the trails. So what we were talking about yesterday is the defense going to ask Betsy Blair? Sarah Carbaugh is the name of the person who was driving on 300 North at 357, who says she saw Bridge Guy. And these four girls. I was saying, like, is the defense going to ask them after February 13th, 2017, how many times did you go into the CVS where Richard Allen worked? did you ever think, like, that's the guy I saw? I mean, I think that's a great question for the defense to ask if they're looking to create some doubt in the mind of the jurors. I don't know how these witnesses are going to respond, but obviously none of them ever went to CVS and said, that's the guy I saw. Let me tell police. Also, what popped into my mind, out of the 70,000 tips, how many people called in Richard Allen or the guy who works at CVS? What did police do to follow up? Apparently not anything. This account has the same cup. Yeah, a nice person in Indiana gave me this Purdue University cup, and somebody in Indiana who went to Indiana University is upset every time I drink. Buy me a Indiana University one. That's bigger than this, and I'll drink it. Yeah, please no politics in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, X Tina makes another good point. I'm interested to find out if Rick came forward to law enforcement before or after the bridge guy photo and audio was released. If Rick was friends with Dan Doolin, the conservation officer, and that was one. If anyone else tipped in Rick over the 5 years, yeah. Um, did Dan Doolin go into CVS and so he was familiar with Rick? And obviously, if Rick was bridge guy, and then he went to talk to the conservation officer, it's highly unlikely that he was wearing the same jeans and blue jacket and something on his head. So Rick has very short hair, and I believe he wore khakis pants to work, and he had like another black and red winter jacket, I think. So the guy who showed up to talk to Dan Doolin looked nothing like Bridge Guy. I'm assuming. Okay, maybe we'll see. Yeah. So this is a rumor. Hi, CJK. Again, just a rumor. People are saying that it's a new rumor that I've heard. I've heard that he told his wife he overslept as he was in bed when she got home. I don't know. How would anybody know that? Again, that's just a rumor. Anna wants to know, what had they withheld from the audio and video? What was the importance of withholding guys for a long time? Yeah, that's a good point. There must be more than just one girl saying something about a gun. Um, yeah, if you've watched any of my deep dive videos, at one point I tried to analyze the static. So in 2019, I guess they released guys. They added guys for some odd reason. Instead of just like muting between guys and down the hill, they left in like 1 to 2 seconds of static, and I tried to enhance it, and I could swear, I'm always wrong, but that I hear like Abby kind of saying like Libby, like she's scared. It really does sound like a young girl like saying Libby to me. So I'm interested to know if that was actually on the video, because from what I've heard, especially from Abby's mom describing the full video, I don't think she ever said that a girl said either Abby or Libby. So I guess we'll find, or the jury will find out. Hi, Louise. Replying to Duchess, I think, saying about suppressing the second statement from October 26, 2022, because Rick is guilty and everything they're trying to get in is being suppressed. They are using the filings to influence, mislead, and confuse the public. Well, people said that even though the defense may not even believe certain things, they have to make these filings in case there needs to be an appeal. That's what somebody said. Not sure if it's true. X Tina should be hosting these live chats instead of me. I am also interested to know if Rick told anyone else he was at the bridge that day. Another great point. We know that some guy that he went to the bar with, JC's bar, apparently posted on Facebook saying he went to the police and was cleared or something like that. So if you truly were at the trails that day from noon to 1:30 and two kids got murdered like an hour later, wouldn't you be telling like everybody you know, I was at the trail that day, I did not see them, like everybody at work, your friends. So I'm curious to know how many people Rick told he was at the trails and left at 1:30. Also, why did Doolin's piece of paper show this timeline as 1:30 to 3:30, which obviously is totally guilty for Rick, but it's unknown why it was written on that piece of paper as 1:30 to 3:30. Because when Rick was interviewed October 13th, 2022, he said he was there noon to 1:30, which to me does not add up. Hey, Simone. Gotcha. Ruby says they always appeal. Sigh number 6. I don't know. One of my biggest concerns is that he is guilty and that he's going to be found innocent, and that the families who have been through absolute hell, living a nightmare every day for almost 8 years. I don't know. It's just like if there's so much evidence at the trial that show that he is guilty, but someone on the jury says not guilty, just like thinking of the family members and the negative emotions they're going to have hearing not guilty when it's if it's obvious that he is guilty. I don't know. I would hope that if he's maybe like trying one time to be found not guilty, that he'll accept his conviction if he's guilty. Crime jester. Someone walked off with that 40,000 bank. Yeah, like people donated $40,000 to the defense and David Hennessy to pay for experts, but it seems like Judge Gull ended up approving them. So whatever happened to that $40,000? YouTube bad actors loves Delulu's name changing every week. Yeah, so I don't know anything about anything, but aren't there different attorneys for appeals? So Baldwin and Rosie, if Rick is found guilty and appeals, Baldwin and Rosie, I think, and Auger are out of the picture and new attorneys take over. Is that true or not? Should I ask Siri? I'm going to ask Siri. Every time I have to say Doobie, Taco Bell, and ask Siri a question. Hey, Siri.
Mhm.
When a person is convicted at a trial and they appeal, are there different lawyers for the appeal? Oh, Lordy, forget it. You'll all have to look it up yourself. I'm sure somebody in the chat, like 30 minutes later, is informing all of you. How much more time? Like 30 more minutes. We love cats and dogs. Yeah, I'm not assuming that Rick is going to be found guilty and appeal. It seems like the prosecution and state are pretty certain that Rick was guilty and Bridge Guy, but the defense also seems pretty certain that he's innocent. So we'll see what happens. Anna says, remember how long police begged for a description of the driver of the car parked at the CPS building? Like they knew the make and model, but the license was obscured because car backed in. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And some people who doubt this 127 video say, well, it might look like Rick's car, but if you can't see that he's the driver or his license plate matches up to his car, what is the use of it? If I'm on a jury and the car has no dissimilarities between Rick's car, then I'm going to believe pretty much that it's Rick's car. Like I walked on that road, 300 North, in May, and for like 10 minutes, there was only, I think, one or maybe two cars. I know some people say that 300 North is heavily trafficked, and some people say it's not. From what I've seen, it's not. But again, that's only 10 minutes out of whatever, an afternoon during a weekday. So we'll see. And also, the thing that comes up with that is that that's the April 2019 press conference where Doug Carter said, we're looking for the driver of a vehicle parked at CPS between noon to 5. And Rick was there noon to 1:30, according to him, but he never came forward in 2019. And I know people can say, well, he came forward in 2017, so he didn't feel like he needed to again. I would have come forward again. If I had just talked to like a conservation officer in front of a grocery store 2 years ago, and this double murder of kids is still not solved, I would go back to the police station 1 block from where I work at CVS and say, I was there noon to 1:30 and I did or did not see anybody parked there. And one of the things that I cannot get past, trying to figure out if Rick is guilty or not, is if he says he leaves at 1:30, like that some like other guy on a Monday afternoon at 1:30 backs into CPS lot up against the building just like Rick did, and Rick within a few minutes wearing like the same thing. I just can't get past that. So we'll see. Yes, a kitty omelet with tuna and eggs. Yeah, so I filmed like 14 episodes of Cooking with Strangers, and I still actually today I finally finished editing only the first one. It's like 34 minutes. So my members are going to, at the $4.99 and above level, will get access to the full episodes and get early access, like up to a few months early. And publicly, I'll upload a shorter, like 10 to 15-minute version. I don't do anything. I've been out of work for 10 months. I'm trying to be more creative, and my savings is going bye-bye. I lost like $4,000 going to Hawaii last week, and my uncle's not reimbursing me. So that's fun. Anyway. That's what we made, Kate, and I piped it in my mouth. How did you know that? That's what we made at the Maui Humane Society in Ziploc bags, and I piped it into my mouth. And we put it on some kind of like metal thing. We gave it to one of the dogs, and the dog loved it. SP74. Maybe some of Rick's clothes wound up in the CVS dumpster with a box cutter. So apparently Rick said to somebody that he used a box cutter to kill Abby and Libby that was issued by his work, and that he, I guess, dumped it or whatever, threw it in the dumpster behind CVS where he worked. I don't know about the clothes, but you would think his wife would know if Bridge Guy, his clothes matched items that Rick owned. And you would hope that the police would have asked her that in 2022. Not sure if that happened. 25 more minutes. High puppy power. I think Rick will have grounds for appeal because the judge has been biased. Well, I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but if the actual facts are so obvious that Rick was Bridge Guy, Maybe he'll accept a guilty verdict. We'll see. This is a good point, Anna. Interesting point about Betsy Blair is that she was said to be resuming her walk. What the heck does that mean? So I guess she left the trail and came back. At some point, somebody on I think on Web Sleuths said that she was walking a dog, but I've never seen that confirmed. Not sure that it has any relevance. Anna says to Cryptex, people will point to Steve's work at True Crime Web, which is a YouTube channel. He's a former law enforcement officer and has a lot of helpful videos. Defining proportions between Rick and Bridge Guy. I deeply respect him, but I think Rick is built like a dwarf, not a little person, but with proportions similar. I'm not sure what Steve at True Crime Web has done to show the comparisons, but I think it's important to remember that what we see of Bridge Guy is zoomed in, and Abby is apparently in the front of the frame and she's cut out. So if we zoom out and you see Abby in the front and Bridge Guy in the back, does that give more perspective of the true height of Bridge Guy? Will he look shorter zoomed out? I just think it looks like a short body, like Rick. This is a good point by Anne. If I were the defense, I'd hammer on law enforcement's own perp suspect sketches. How can they be so different? Obviously, yeah, I mean, the old guy sketch, and then 2 years later, this young guy that looks nothing like the first one. But it's going to come out that it already came out that in the Frank's memo, volume one of many, it was because Betsy Blair in March of 2019, before that press conference, I guess she went to police and said she was frustrated that they put out the old guy sketch, but they never solved the case in 2 years, and they never shared her young guy sketch. So if it's true that she was upset that she was pressured into making this sketch, why did she say it was a 10 out of 10 and then go to police saying, I'm frustrated that you're looking for an older guy when I saw a younger guy? I mean, but that's a good point that the defense is definitely going to bring that up. Hello. Lady Monet works at a CVS, which is the pharmacy for international people. The stores have a dumpster that is used for bagged trash. All CVS stores use clear plastic trash bags, right? Thank you for your experience. Hi, Lorelei. Lie. Oops. Laura. How does one become a channel member? I don't see a subscribe option. If you look under the video next to my name and picture, there should be a join option. Thank you, Laura. Miss Snow. I was going to say Miss Snow if you're nasty, like Janet Jackson, but that's a Janet Jackson song. Sorry. Is it getting hot in here? Or is it just me? How much more time? Exactly 20 more minutes. It just changed from 138 to 139. I am now 40 minutes. Oh no, 50 minutes behind. Let me skip. Yeah, thank goodness for Dairy Queen. Skipping along, sashaying and shantaing through the comments. The jury has to be in a CrossFit competition to get on the jury. That's how far behind I am right now. Let's see. Is anybody planning to go to the trial? Yeah, this is actually a good point. Louise says, we don't know the facts. They could have been looking for marking on the boots or something specific. So, as I was just saying, I think Bridge Guy's feet are small, and so are Rick's. Was there any kind of evidence taken from either the north or south side of the creek with a boot imprint that matches the boot or any boot found at Rick's house? There were two pairs of boots taken from Rick's house. I think one may have been a woman's pair, his wife's maybe. I don't know. That's a possibility. We'll see. Please do not show that bar dancing video. It's embarrassing. SP74, Gill's gavel. If I were McClelland, I'd hammer home that Rick was only 44 at the time and show the bar dance video of him dancing and jumping up and down like a fish out of water. We'll see. Well, Anna says there was a heavy leaf litter at the crime scene and searchers had been all over everywhere. So I doubt they can identify the offender's footprints from all the others. But maybe at like the north side of the creek. Ruby, you said it, not me. Yeah, this is another interesting thing. Hi, Sassfire. It's hard. Oh, whatever. Don't worry about it. Was it Rick who went into a hospital, after the girls were taken? No. It came out, I think, in last August hearings. In 2019, Rick went into, I don't want to say a mental hospital, but he had like some kind of mental issue and he went to a facility at the most basic level. We don't know the exact date. And like in relation to the April 2019 press conference, people want to know, was it soon after that, which would maybe indicate that Rick had some kind of guilt or nervous breakdown because of that? Again, we don't know the date, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he's guilty. Yay, Laura is a new member. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Sassfire, his hospital stay was not for addiction. I think it was a mental break. It's never been discussed that Rick had any kind of addiction. Just he suffered from depression since a young age. I think in July 2015, Rick's wife called police because Rick was so drunk and he had to go to a hospital. So that was before the murders. Whether he has some kind of alcohol issue is unknown. Are you kidding me? Jerry gonna SWAT? No, I don't know the jury selection process. Thank you. Yesterday, yeah, I was supposed to look it up actually, because yesterday I thought that both like when they're interviewing these potential jurors, I thought that both the prosecution and the defense had to both agree, like this juror number one, we both want them. If one of them, like the defense wanted somebody and the prosecution does not, I thought that person gets dismissed. But apparently there are a certain number of vetoes or something. Can somebody clarify? Hi, Bernie. The cost to this county is staggering. Courthouse has put in x-ray machines, etc. this past week. Yeah, well, they bought a freaking $70,000 podium for the courtroom. $70,000 for a podium, which they obviously can use in the future. And I said that I've like rented stuff from hotels for meetings and they charge, like for a projector, they charge like $500 a day to rent a projector where you can just like buy one and use it for until it breaks in a few years. So obviously they're going to use this podium for a long time, but still $70,000. Yeah, sorry, I didn't study the jury process. 14 more minutes. So if you just joined, I don't know if I'm doing live chats next weekend. We're in the final week before the trial's supposed to start. If there are legal filings that warrant me doing a live chat next weekend, I will. Other than that, I will start doing live chats every night of the trial, starting around 6:30 p.m. New York City time. That's that. Anne says what it will be hard for the jury to get over is the photos of the crime scene, actual crime scene photos. Naturally, really focus a jury. Yeah, I mean, I guess if the prosecution is showing these murdered kids, and then it's like that guy over there is the one who did it, and there's audio of that guy over there calling his wife and mom saying, I did it. How is the jury going to say, oh, he's not guilty? Let me skip. This account, the biggest standout to me is that Rick gave the best description of the man on Libby's video. He may not have described his clothing until 2022. I don't know that Dan Doolin in 2017 even asked him what he was wearing. But I mean, that's a good point. Rick said he was wearing jeans and a dark or blue or black jacket, and possibly a head covering and a hat or something. So that's a good point. Like Rick pretty much described he was wearing nearly exactly what Bridge Guy was wearing. Hi, Mustang. Just looking for some final topics we have not discussed. Nobody has ever recognized me out in the YouTube streets. Kay says, why do some people insist on spreading rumors and gossip like they're facts? Rick was never hospitalized, and it was Yoder, who I guess is a Delphi or Carroll County police officer, that went on the domestic call and nothing happened. Where's your proof or shut up? It was on the news saying that Tobe Lesenby said that Rick was taken to a hospital in July 2015 after his wife called. So why is his wife even calling in the first place? Also, hospitalized, it came out at the hearing in August that Rick was hospitalized for mental issues in 2019. So not sure about that. Mustang loves Doug Carter. Yeah, is Doug Carter going to testify? Maybe. Maybe the defense will call him. Oh, somebody removed it. What? Hi, Emily. Such a horrific crime. I have girls that age, so I can't imagine what they and their families have been through. I know. Hopefully, finally, there's a resolution. Obviously, not. I mean, some people say you shouldn't say a resolution, but as far as identifying who did this and holding him accountable, hopefully that's finally coming. Salty Beach says most of the new info we learn will be bad for Rick. The defense has told us anything remotely favorable for him. Well, yeah, the defense said if there has to be a second trial, it's not going to be good for Rick because his first trial is going to reveal so many, I guess, negative things that he won't be able to get a fair jury if people hear what's revealed in the first trial. So what does that mean? Emily wants to know, do you all think it was pre-planned with those specific girls in mind or a crime of opportunity? If I had to pick one, I would say a crime of opportunity. AKA Radar, hello. No time of death. How can anyone be convicted when there's no time of death? I'm not familiar with investigations and trials, so I'm not sure. I'm never acting like I know anything about anything. I'm just hosting this discussion. How do you know the small size of Bridge Guy's feet? Because I've looked at that video 99 times. 999 times. Randy, who's Randy? Gravit? Randy found a footprint and law enforcement took a mold. It wasn't small, just saying. All right, we're allowed to have different opinions, and our opinions don't matter. Let's just wait for the trial to find the facts, and hopefully the jury can make the right decision. Kate B says time of death is not required for a conviction. Final, 5 comments. Mary Elizabeth says the pants with the emoji being crumpled because Bridge Guy is short and it matches Rick's photos where he is wearing pants. That's I agree with that, Mary Elizabeth. And I showed a photo of Rick outside of CVS like 2 months before he was arrested, and he has small feet, and like you said, his khakis are crumpled. Doesn't mean he's guilty or Bridge Guy, but it is one thing that adds up to me. Hi, Aaron. Stay tuned. How I'm going to figure out how to cover the trial every night. Yeah, what was the up with Doug Carter saying there's a lot of tentacles? That was after Rick was arrested. Bernie says, yes, law enforcement missed things initially, but I think the tentacles were there due to online child stuff. They uncovered a lot with that. Many more arrests around here following that. Maybe one day Doug Carter will be giving an interview and say or answer a lot of these questions that people have about some of his statements over the years. He retires, I think, in January of 2025. I'm still a half hour behind. Hold on, let me skip. Puppy Power. Rick's car was on video as he drove by Hoosier Harvest Store. Well, apparently, the prosecution is saying he drove by Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:27 to go to CPS, which to me, it does totally add up to the timeline of Bridge Guy and stuff like that. So if they have video of CPS, then they know if it's the same car. But I don't think they have video of CPS. What? People say I look like Dr. Kildare, Richard Chamberlain. Anyway, we'll keep it moving. High caricature contest. How can people think he's innocent while being the only defendant on trial after a huge investigation? It's like they just want to argue. Well, it seems like some people think it was Ron Logan, Kegan Kline, or somebody else. They just don't think that it adds up to being Rick. So they refuse to believe it. And maybe once all the facts are actually revealed at the trial, they'll change their mind. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind if there aren't enough facts that show Rick was Bridge Guy. Mustang, is CVS the only store in Delphi? There may be another smaller pharmacy, but it is pretty much like, I don't know. I don't want to say any false comments. Like if you need a variety of things, you would go to CVS in Delphi. I'm not going to say what variety you need. What? Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Aaron, so much. I appreciate everybody's generosity. Four more minutes. No, I'm not getting an editor. I have to edit my own. That's the problem. I have to watch my videos to see what I want to take out. Hi, Rescue All the Dogs. Thank you for adoring me. Yeah, I just hope the truth is finally revealed for the families and Abby and Libby and Richard Allen and his family and the community of Delphi. Jim, I know you disagree, but 104 minutes is not enough time for one man to do what was done to these poor girls. I just can't get on board. Thanks for your work on the case. So I made a spreadsheet. When the first Frank's memo came out and the defense was like, one man cannot do this, 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 and this. I made a spreadsheet with all of the activities that the defense said needed to be done. And I respectfully disagree with you. I do think it was possible for one man, including Richard Allen, to do what happened. At 213 is when he tells them to go down the hill. And at 357 is when somebody on 300 apparently saw someone matching Bridge Guy. I think it's enough time to do this. I mean, to cross the creek, which some people debate, did they even cross the creek? I don't know, 213, you're down in that area down there till 215 cross. You're near the crime scene by at least 220, 225. That's like an hour and a half before Bridge Guy is seen on 300. I don't know. It adds up to me. So it's okay to disagree. Hi, bud. Yes, my uncle is meaner than Ron Logan. We're down to the final minute. I'll do one more comment. So if I don't see you next weekend, I'll see you all on October 17th, the first day of the trial. I'll start hosting my nightly live chats. What is our final comment? Let me go down here. I have 1 minute. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for my moderators for, I guess, moderating. Thank you to the people who signed up as a member, Miss Laura, the people who donated. I appreciate it. Thank you. What's our final comment? Shay, did you play? I did, and it was a disaster. All right, final comment. I'm going to go over 2 hours. Awkward. Sorry. I'm not seeing anything. Nothing is worth posting. All right, I guess that's it, you guys. Sorry. Yeah, I'll do this one. rescue all the dogs. These 4 girls who died in this arson in Flora, which is still unsolved. That's my final sigh of the chat. Hopefully one day their case will also be solved. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining and sharing your thoughts. I'll see you in 10 days or so. Bye. Thank you.